All right, so before we start here, I'd just like to say thank God we have basketball back. I think this is going to be a great season, and I am so excited that we have these awesome games for opening night. But all right, so I just watched Milwaukee and Brooklyn play. Milwaukee kind of ran away with the game at the end of it, but it was relatively close for the most part. We'll start with the takeaways from Brooklyn. This team is going to really need Kyrie Irving back. I think we like to say like, oh, if they had, if Harden was healthy or if Kyrie was healthy, just one of the two is healthy, they beat Milwaukee last year. And you know what? They probably do. But I think this Milwaukee team is better than the Milwaukee team that was playing in that series. I think they figured a lot of shit out. And I think, when championship teams come back and they just have that confidence and that swagger, and it looks like Giannis' shot just looks a lot smoother. It doesn't have the hitch at the top of its release anymore. So I think Brooklyn, for them to really be able to be that runaway super team that we think they are, they need Kyrie. This bench for Brooklyn is weak. Patty Mills, awesome pickup. And as a Spurs fan, I'm actually very happy to see Patty Mills on a contending team again, because now the world can see how good he is again. But outside of Patty, you got LaMarcus Aldridge looking old and slow, even though I know he just came back from his heart problem thing and he's probably rusty, but let's be real, guys. LaMarcus Aldridge is 36 years old, and he's not in like the best shape. He's never been like in the best shape. He's not even really a great rebounder for his size. Today he played 15 minutes, had 1 point and 3 rebounds, and that's it. Like that's rough. And then the rest of this bench is like James Johnson, okay, great, somebody who can't score but is like a pseudo good defender. He's one of those guys that you think about like, oh, his role is to be like the tough guy and to defend, but then when you actually see him defend, you're like, wait a second, everybody gets buckets on him. Paul Millsap, who played 5 minutes today, and Paul Millsap, who really might be done. His last year in Denver was not very impressive. He averaged about 9 points a game and on pretty rough efficiency, and I don't know if he really has that defensive versatility at this age that he used to have, and that was really his calling card, right? Like that's what made him such an interesting player, along with the scoring and stuff. But if he can't be versatile on defense with the Nets, which is a team who switches everything, or at least switches 1 through 4, I'm not really sure how much of a role he's going to have. So I just think Steve Nash has a lot cut out for him when it comes to sorting out this bench unit for Brooklyn. Now the starters, I think, actually look pretty good for them. I think Nick Claxton, good energy guy, made some like boneheaded plays today, didn't get back on defense a couple times, and isn't always the most aware, but I think he has the physical tools and the athleticism to really be a problem for a lot of teams. I think he's quick, and I think a lot of modern bigs won't be able to keep up with him. Now, this particular game was probably a bad matchup for him because Milwaukee is huge, and Milwaukee has Giannis, who can very easily keep up with Nick Claxton. And even Brook Lopez is pretty nimble for how big he is. But the rest of that lineup, Durant is Durant. He was awesome tonight. Harden was a little quiet, 20 points, 8 boards, 8 assists. But, Harden's really playing that distributor role, especially early in the season. I don't think he's the type of, we saw last year when he was traded to this team, he didn't immediately start playing like Houston Rockets James Harden. Like, he really played like a true point guard, and I think he's probably going to play like that again this year. And I think that's going to be good for the Nets. I think you're going to really be able to see guys like Joe Harris, Blake, Claxton, Patty, like see those guys thrive. And then when they need a big game, Harden's definitely capable of that. Joe Harris finally made a shot. He started off this game like really cold, and I was like, oh shit, because like if you guys remember last year in the playoffs, he was horrific, and I think that was really the reason why Brooklyn lost that series. But he at least made some shots today. He had a tough 3 that cut it to, I believe, 8 in the third quarter. That looked like, oh, okay, like maybe they're going to come back and win this. Blake, continues to not really be the offensive threat that he used to be. And what I was a little disappointed in today was I didn't see any of that playmaking Blake that we're used to seeing. And I think playmaking Blake can really not only unlock some offense with the starting unit, but I think if you play him with the secondary unit, which is severely lacking a playmaker, I think that could be interesting, running like Patty, Blake, pick and rolls, pick and pops, and then having shooters kind of play off that. So yeah, so now over to Milwaukee's side. Like I was saying earlier, this team just has a real confidence and swagger. Giannis's jump shot looks really good. I think he shot a lot better from the free throw line today. He shot a 7 for 9. He's just taking one dribble and shooting it, which is like what you should have done. Who takes 10 seconds to shoot a free throw? Like, even in the park, like even just like you and me, like that. If I took 10 seconds to shoot a free throw, I'd probably miss too. Like that's way too long to think about it. So I like the adjustment there. Chris Middleton continues to be the old man in the YMCA with nothing flashy, but just hits you with a couple moves just to get enough space to get a shot off. Drew Holiday, this is something I'm nervous about, and I think something that Milwaukee really avoided last year, but Drew Holiday is injury prone. His whole career, this dude plays like an average of 55, 60 games a year, and they got lucky that he was healthy throughout the whole playoffs, but he's out. He played like the first half, and then he went out with a bruised heel. That's the most Drew Holiday type injury ever too. It's never like a serious injury, you know. But heels take a long time to heal, excuse the pun. And you know, like you can't really do a whole lot when you have a hurt heel, and it's near your Achilles. So I wouldn't be surprised if this keeps Drew Holiday out for a week or two, or maybe longer. Honestly, I imagine they're going to be really conservative for him just for that reason, that he does have an injury history. But the rest of the new guys on Milwaukee were pretty impressive. Grayson Allen didn't shoot amazing, but you can see the impact he's going to have, and he is a great shooter typically. And he just a heady player, just knows where the right spot to be. He got himself open a lot. And Giannis, who's just so great at finding three-point shooters when Giannis is in the paint and kicking it out, I think Grayson Allen and Giannis are going to have really good chemistry in that area. Pat Connaughton was like low-key amazing this game. He had 20 points and was just hitting every big shot when they needed to. But the big one for them, and somebody, if you looked at the advanced analytics last year, was actually really good for them, was Jordan Nwora, excuse me. He looked like a legitimate off-the-dribble scorer, like a legitimate six-man for them today. And if his game can go up another level, that is huge. That's a humongous pickup for Milwaukee, especially if Drew Holiday is going to miss some time here. And like, I think this Milwaukee team's really good, and they closed out this game and were amazing. But without, like, as they closed out this game, they didn't have Drew Holiday. They still don't have Dante DiVincenzo, who should return at some point here, who had ankle surgery. And Bobby Portis was also out. So it's like three really key players that Milwaukee was missing, and they're still able to shut the door on Brooklyn tonight. Oh, and George Hill is back, who, like, people will hate on George Hill, but he's a smart player. He was really good for Milwaukee last time he played there. I think he played in 2019 for Milwaukee, and I just remember he was really efficient. Yeah, he averaged 9.5 points on 52 from the field, 46 from 3. And I just feel like George Hill is that guy that there's a reason why good teams always want to sign George Hill. He knows how to be heady, be in the right place. He's an efficient scorer. He can defend other guys at his position. This Milwaukee team is really good. And I know it's just after one game, but if Kyrie Irving doesn't come back, Milwaukee is the favorite to come out of the East.